Yeah, you can only go live with one person or two people.
Okay, we are live.
Hi, everybody. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
We are finally going live. Priyanka, you're on mute right now. You may need to unmute. So while we are getting everyone on, I just wanted to say that, this is, of course, our 10th episode, very special. We've got the two of the most inspiring people. So this had to take long. So here we are. And to top it all, Priyanka did take longer to get ready today. So beautiful. So
Right.
I will now hand it over. I'm sure most people are live now. So Jyoti, take it on.
All right. Thank you, Dabira. A very good evening and a warm welcome to everyone for our 10th episode of Coffee Conversation with Women on Wealth. For the past 9 episodes, you have been hearing our community members empowering you with their stories. But for this episode, we decided to invite none other than the founders of Women on Wealth to come share their journey with you. Priyanka Bhatia, as we all know, is always introduced as the co-founder of Women on Wealth. And we, the rest of us, have often wondered who is this other person. So today we finally get to have a face-to-face with the other co-founder. So I want to welcome Praveer and Priyanka, the founders of Women on Wealth.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Praveer,
Thank
warm
you so much,
welcome, the
Jyoti,
back
and
end.
So good to see you, Praveer.
thank you, Jyoti. Thank you, Zabira. And Apeksha.
Hi. Well, I want to say here that I don't think many people know who Praveer is. I didn't know for the longest of time until I saw him at one of the get-togethers we had of a community. And there was this one man among all these women. And I had this thought in my head, like, who's that? Until Beena, a community member, told me, oh, that's Praveer. Priyanka and Praveer started Women on Wealth together. So I first thought that I will give this full introduction about the two of you, about your work, your journey, a few interesting quotes. But then I decided, wait, let Priyanka and Praveer share their journey themselves. And let me instead speak about my impression about the two of you. Praveer, I want to start with you, and I want to say that it's a privilege to know you. You have so much knowledge and so many ideas, and what interesting ideas you come up with. But the one quality I really admire about you is the way you listen to people. You listen so attentively that you inspire the other person to share more. And that's exactly how I have felt every time I have shared my few tidbits with you. You made me feel heard. In this day and age, when everyone is in such a rush and doing so much multitasking, we all have become masters of selective listening and rushing the other person to finish. But you come across as this breath of fresh air who simply sits back and listens attentively and gives all the time to the other person to talk and share. Well, that's an admirable quality to have. And Priyanka, what can I say about you? You have changed my life, my way of thinking. You are an inspiration, not just for me, but for each and every community member and all the other women who have heard you speak. For me, you're not just my mentor, but you're a friend, a very non-judgmental, a very open and a loving friend. There are not many people like you that exist. You motivate me, you encourage me, you listen so attentively when I talk and when you talk, and you listen so attentively when I talk, and when you talk, I get forced to look at things from a very different perspective. And I admire that about you. And I love the ways you say to me often, I'm just a phone call away. So thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much to both of you for creating this community for women like me and many other who don't know where we should start our journey when it comes to financial independence or financial empowerment. So on this note, since we are already very late, I'm going to start this evening. And today it's not just the Bira and me who are the host, but today we also decided to have Apeksha, who's our other team member, to join us. So Apeksha, I'm going to hand it over to you now.
So I am very, very curious today and very intrigued also. I think a certain part of Priyanka, you I don't know at all, and I want to know that. And I'm sure many women out there from our community also would want to know that side of you. So I would like by asking you, tell us a bit about yourself from early on.
Oh my God. Okay.
Women on Wealth.
Before Women on Wealth.
Yeah.
So how I remember myself is as a very, very loving child. I belong to, I am a child of extremely loving parents. I never remember a moment जब मुझे डांट पड़ी हो. Not even a moment. Like that's how I remember myself as a child. Like कभी डांट नहीं पड़ी, कभी मम्मी पापा ने कुछ बोला ही नहीं. It was like so much love that I witnessed in my family, my brother, I, and my parents, our parents, and my memories of my childhood are fantastic. And there are a lot of memories with money that I have from my childhood, because my parents, both of them, especially my dad, comes from a very humble background, and I mean, whose father died when he was 2, had to, start working when he was in class 6, and he's an MA economics from those times, extremely forward person. And yeah, I would see him often having money conversations and very comfortable money conversations with my mom. Those are the kind of memories that I have from my childhood, and both of them used to work together to actually see us wealthy and where we stand today. I think it's both of them. And yeah, those are my memories from the childhood. And one of the other memories that I have from my childhood is I was always clear as a child that I'll be in a business. Like, I think that's something that was extremely clear for me, that okay, what will I be doing? I would, my dad would often watch CNBC, in the drawing room, on the TV, and I would often sit there and look at Ratan Tata and say, wow, I'll be that kind. Look at him.
Amazing.
He was my first crush. And I was like, man, this is who I want to be. So you all remember the young Ratan Tata, I hope. So
Yeah.
at least not that young, but yeah, absolutely. So those are my childhood memories, and yeah, that's all where it began, really.
What
So,
about your youth?
sorry,
How about your youth? A little after that, like what you did.
how was my youth? My youth was, I think it was extremely hardworking. I worked really hard and smart. I took up a job in journalism, and I was very smart because I took up shifts which were morning shifts. So 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. shifts I took, and all my bosses knew that I will leave the office sharp at 4:15. I'm not going to stay back. And I would leave sharp at 4:15, and I would start working on my business, because I was extremely passionate about being in business. And well, for all of you who don't know, Women on Wealth is my 4th venture. The first 3 didn't succeed. And well, the 4th did succeed when everybody said it won't. So yeah, very proud to say that. So that was my youth. Yeah, that was Priyanka from the age 20 to 25. And then yes, at 25, Praveer and I started Women on Wealth. That's how it is.
Hold that thought.
So
We would like to know Praveer before that. Before we go to Women on Wealth.
Uh, what
Tell us,
can I tell
Praveer.
you?
Yeah, from the beginning. We would love to.
That's a long, long time. Yeah, that's about 7 decades. I'll tell you some highlights.
Yes, yes.
Basically, I grew up in a family where, family that had exited what became Pakistan, and came to India with nothing in their pockets, practically. But when they were in India, when they were in Lahore, they're from Lahore basically. They were all professionals, and when they came to India with nothing in their pockets, they started all over again. And it was everybody started all over again. It wasn't like anybody had a huge amount to start with. The women in my family were extremely enterprising. My mother started to work for Indian Airlines in Connaught Place. At that time, it was in Connaught Place. And she, after that, she started her own travel business. It was an all-women travel business. And they, at that time, no women actually had businesses. They would either be working at home or they would be in junior positions in companies. So when she started her all-women travel business, that was a shock for people in Delhi. And it was also a shock that she got clients like John F. Kennedy and Robert Kennedy and various Hollywood film stars, as well as other notable people. That was shocking to her. An all-woman company could do that. She went on to become an editor of newspapers. My parents were posted in Ceylon, so she was an editor of newspaper there. When she came back, she started her own magazine. It was called Delhi Diary, and it survived for 30 years. 20 of those years were after she passed. The magazine just continued even without her. That was amazing. Jyoti, am I loud enough?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Sorry, I'm not handy with these things. Okay. My aunt started her own little revolution in the 80s. There were a lot of women being burnt as brides at that time in the 80s, and she was at the forefront of this major challenge to women. Another one of my aunts was one of India's first women pediatricians. So, you know, with all of these women doing successfully and doing so well, for me, it's a natural that, you know, there's no reason why there's a separation between what women can do and what men can do. And so that's a bit about my background.
Now, what amazes me is that you experienced that at least 5-6 decades ago, and women today also in certain categories do struggle to come forward when it was possible so many years back.
Yeah, and it's a constant. One is constantly pushing against that particular attitude which says that women can't do this or men can't do this. For me, life is all about exploring your potential.
Yeah.
And it's a little difficult to watch people struggling with something, and especially something as important as money.
Yeah.
I remember when Priyanka and I started out in 2011, to get a bank loan for a woman, it was like they would actually look at the woman and say, where's your husband, your brother, some male member, some responsible person, right? Which is a joke.
Responsible person, I like that.
Yeah.
By the way, most men don't know how to manage money. So I don't know why they were looking for a responsible person. All the debts are from men.
True.
That's true. That's true.
I just have a quick question. Talking about living life to its full potential, Priyanka, I want to ask you about that time when you were exploring your other business opportunities and what it was like, and like how was your journey at that time? You used to leave office at 4 o'clock, and what did you learn? What was the big takeaway from that phase?
the biggest takeaway for me always was that people are my biggest assets. I think that was absolutely clear for me from day one. Like, I think relationships is what drives this world. At least that's what my understanding is and was, that if we have the relationships, we'll have all the wealth, all the businesses, everything that we want in our lives. Because, I mean, if our people are happy, we'll be happy. If our people are wealthy, we'll be wealthy. It's like that. And yeah, so for me, the biggest lesson was number one, in relationships, investing in the relationships. And number two, I think failures came pretty soon in my life. I think the first few things, the first few investments I did were like failed me. The businesses I did failed me. So I think the failures came in pretty soon. So they were a big jhatka to wake me up and kind of keep telling me to course correct. And as I kept course correcting, I think we managed to build something successful where, like I said, where everybody said Women on Wealth will never work.
Obviously, you started your successful business at 25, and you
Yeah.
most people start after that and face whatever, finding success comes much later.
I think most
But you
people are
know,
still trying to find their profession at that time, at 25. And here you had already done your 3, 4 and already on the path to create a business.
yeah. And I think the reason failures come to us, the reason failures came to you was because you at least tried. You know, when we have an idea in our mind, most of the time we don't try because we are scared ki ya ye to chalega nahi, so let's not even try it. And the reason, but in your case, you at least tried, na, you did the thing and then you failed, and that didn't stop you. You again tried, again you failed, again you tried, again you failed. By the third time, usually people just give up. And the fact that Women on Wealth was your fourth venture, and it just clicked.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, I must say, Praveer and I persisted for about 5 years. And it wasn't that Women on Wealth thrived right away. It wasn't that. I think Sheetal is another member who really persisted with us. All the old community members who are watching here, Prema, Deepa, the real old ones who came in 2012, 2013, they know that it didn't work right in the very beginning. I think only after 5 years of our efforts did it begin to pay off. And yeah, now it's blossoming. It's the 10th year that we are coming about.
That's awesome. Well, everybody, I think, is very, very curious to know as to how did the two of you meet? Like,
Yeah. Praveer, you want to take that on? I think a lot of people keep hearing me and they need to hear you today.
yes, please.
Carry on, Priyanka. I don't have a problem.
Go ahead.
Actually, I've been in marketing and advertising for a long time, for at least 45 years. And I'd actually taken my hands off that particular subject when I was doing independent projects like recycled paper or working with lepers in East Delhi. And and the occasional marketing or advertising assignment. When Priyanka came over, and I was actually just basically doing stuff that I enjoyed doing, but I wanted something much bigger. When Priyanka came to me with her particular idea about what to do, somebody recommended that she come and see me, and fortunately for me, she did come and see me. And her idea was absolutely super. I knew it was going to be a very, very hard and long route to actually developing and delivering this. First of all, the cultural barriers are so strong that it would take a while to actually get this particular message across. So I was prepared for about 3 years of really pushing, efforting. And what actually kept us going was every successful encounter, every person who actually came to our programs succeeded. And that was heartening, surprising, enlivening, inspiring. And when I look at, say, Dabira, Apeksha, Jyoti, I see women who are utterly fantastic, really. And it's not, and I don't look at, I look at what we failed at. We failed several times on many things, but these are all building blocks. If you're going to do something, you're going to fail at it. So that's something that we're prepared for. So when I met Priyanka, I knew this was the kind of person who could actually take this on, and had the determination and the courage and the inspiration and the vision to see it through. It did not necessarily mean that it would be a financial success. I mean, of course, one wants a financial success, but altering the lives of people. If you look at 50% of India, that's women. If you do even 1% of women in India, that's 1.2 crore women who are financially educated. And that is something mind-blowing for me. So that's really what I saw when we discussed the project 10 years, 9 years ago.
Nice. So, what I was wondering when you both were talking is that most startups, most businesses, the partnerships don't really last. There's always a point of difference. There's a point of, thought collision, as I can call it. Why do you think yours is a very strong one? And why I say strong is that, we've gotten so far. It's an uphill journey now. So, we would like to say that the first few years are, of course, very rough and we've gotten through them. So what is it that brought you out so strong? What is it that, how did you complement each other?
The honest truth, Dabira?
Absolutely.
The honest truth is there are constantly thought collisions. Constantly. There is no end to it. Mostly because we are different people. And we do have, the thing is to learn not to debate, but to dialogue.
Yeah.
And that's a learning process in itself. And even then, there are going to be thought collisions. I like that phrase that you use. And ultimately, one is driven forward by the results and by the mission. And the mission is to empower women financially. So it's not about you said this or I said this, or you didn't do that, or I didn't do that, or we should do it this way, we should do it that way. It's actually relating to the mission and saying, how does this serve that particular purpose?
So true. And Priyanka, your view on it?
He's the one who fights with me. Yeah, I'm clear. I'm not the one fighting. I have a very simple thing.
Yeah.
All his mistakes.
But that's what we are trying to say, right? Ki not many starking big mistakes here. So what is it? What is it that's kept you going?
Yeah, I think he's bang on. The mission keeps us going. We all know that we're committed to a bigger purpose. It's not about this one person. It's never about one person, nor the founders, nor the core team, nor the community members. It's about the bigger purpose and really striving for that. We are on an impossible mission. 50 lakh financially educated women, building skills, creating wealth. It is impossible. And if we kind of get stopped with these small things, then I think we can't strive for that purpose even. So I think the big purpose, the mission drives us, and also there's a very strong friendship. Touch wood, there's a very, very strong friendship. There's a strong foundation that we have. I think there's something really beautiful about Praveer, which I would like to mention here. He never let age come in the way of us, like discussing anything. He's double my age, he's my dad's age. I love him, respect him, everything is there, and yet it's never about age between us. It's always been about, okay, what can forward the mission, what can bring about that bigger purpose, what can bring about this emerging future that we want to bring. And yeah, because when you bring age, or like, I think the values of the community come from Praveer, is how I would say, camaraderie, or like operating from a non-judgmental space, like really speaking from your heart, and not letting any age, gender, anything come in your way of what you're committed to. So I think he is somebody who embodies all of that, and I think that's where it's coming from, I would say.
You've put it so nicely. I mean, it's the value of the relationship, I think, at the end of the day. This mutual respect that you have, the common vision, mission, it can really take you a long way. And just a complete understanding, like as humans, we tend to misunderstand a lot of things. So just a complete alignment on that, I think, is great.
And
and I think for every relationship, this is my learning from all the relationships that I am in. Any relationship, when there is a bigger purpose in that relationship, it thrives. And when you're committed to something bigger, when there is like something which is bigger than you and me, and I think it just thrives. So I think that's even the mantra for the core team, Sheetal, Hira, everybody who's with us. Beena, the Bira, you, everybody, Jyoti, Apeksha, all of us, I think we're thriving because I think there's a bigger purpose driving all of us, our relationships.
And the value that you are trying to create, as you said, about the non-judgmental space, I think as members, and I think I can speak from each and every I can speak this from each and every member's point of view. We feel that non-judgmental space. I think the reason I was able to grow in this community was because I got a non-judgmental space where I could ask as many questions, which could be as silly as possible. And I knew that I'm going to get an answer and nobody's going to say, oh my God, isko itna bhi nahi aata. So that non-judgmental space is actually what made me grow as a person. And now I see that even in my other areas of my life, I'm able to communicate myself much more easily without feeling, I'm going to be judged. So you have bang on created a very non-judgmental space. And yes, thank you for that.
So bigger thank you to Praveer. Yeah, big thank you to Praveer for that.
Thank all of you for participating in it. If I mean, I can say, let's have a safe space, but if nobody wants to make it safe, then it ain't going to happen. We're all equal participants in this.
We've got a very strict principal at hand, who is Priyanka, who keeps everyone in check. So Praveer, while it's your thought, we have to give the due there as well. That she brings everybody back nice and proper.
She's very focused. Really
Priyanka,
remarkable.
what I would like to know, Praveer did mention about his inspiration, about Women on Wealth, what drove him towards that. But you were the one who started it. So where did you get the idea? What was your inspiration to start something like this?
I think it was a dream that I had, which was to start a business. I mean, I think I've grown up with this dream. Always in my head, I used to feel, believe that, okay, I'm a business person at heart. I think since I remember, I don't even remember at any point in my life ever even thinking of being in a job. And yeah, so one is the dream, and the second part always was like making a difference. I think that is my big, I think Praveer and my commonalities, I think, also come from there, that we both want to make a difference in this world. And I think, yeah, we were looking for a project which kind of demonstrates that, which brings about the change that we're looking for in the world. And I think, and well, Women on Wealth didn't start like this. We started as a property service for women, and it has evolved to be a training company or a community, whatever you may want to call it. It's been an evolution. It's been an evolution, and it all started with a dream and a commitment to make a difference. And I think, I would like to at this point acknowledge all my mentors, Landmark Education, Vivek, a lot of my mentors who actually came together to have all this happen, which has happened today. Yeah. That's how.
So picking your brain a little bit further on this, how, like, when you thought of that you want to do a business and you started, doing different things. So I'm going to ask you a two-part question here. So this is for all the people who are looking to start a business, and that, obviously you've seen failure firsthand. What was that one thing that kept you motivated to do the next business venture? What kept taking you forward? Was it your mentors? What was the thought behind it?
Honestly, I don't even know, Zavira. Now that you're asking me this question, is making me think, what kept me going? What kept me going? Because there were days I used to run a small cafe coffee day out of a small insurance company's office on the Greater Noida Expressway. And this is without my parents' knowledge, because at that time they were saying something else and I wanted to do something else.
I love how this has happened at that young age, when there'll be people hiding their relationships from parents. You are hiding businesses from parents. So that is like, that's when you're special.
Yeah, and my mother would figure that, okay, something she's doing, but and she'll ask me once or twice, but I would say, no, nothing. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going to my job and that's about it. But well, I was always having a side hustle. And yeah, and I don't know. I think there is some inner drive I have. I think I am somebody who is driven. And I often tell this to Praveer as well, that I think they think it's focus, persistence. Yeah, I mean, I pretty much agree that yes, I am very focused. I am persistent. I'm mindful. At the same time, I think there is something within me which drives me. It just drives me to get up every morning, early morning, and just get. I think the purpose probably drives me. I would say it like that.
Okay. And the second part of my question is that I agree that this
also,
is to people.
Now that I'm thinking, I'm just getting present to that. I am the first woman in my family to work, to take up a job, to start a business. Nobody in a generation before me has been working. And after me, everybody in my family is working. So I am that generation which maybe brought this change, or maybe
I think we are having network issues there.
I don't know.
Priyanka, voice breaker.
I think,
yeah.
Priyanka, I think we've lost you in the middle there.
Yes. Okay. My voice is that.
Yeah, it's back, but your video
okay.
isn't.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you and we can see you. So we missed the last part.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Am I back audible?
Loud and clear. We missed the last bit.
Yes. And I think let Praveer take over, because otherwise if I keep speaking, he'll not get the opportunity.
Yeah. So Praveer, I'll ask you the second part of my question, which was that I agree that the mission is to make a difference, to get women to be financially independent. But probing more into it, how do you think that will impact a woman's life? How do you think financial independence, financial literacy will change our lives. And this is for people, you know, who are sitting on the fence at the moment.
Essentially, it's not about money, but it is about money. The problem is that people have all kinds of opinions or interpretations about what money is. And all that money is a tool. It's not something magical. What is magical is how you use it and how you can use it to alter your life, to go in the direction of what you perceive as your purpose in life. So many times I hear people saying, I wish I could start a business. To start a business, you need a whole bunch of things. Number one, you need to have the heart to start. There are people who have started businesses without money. I know from my own family, without any money, they've started. It's possible to do that, but it makes it much easier so that you can focus on the real learning that happens on the job, day to day. And if you have the money part covered, you know, your entire life expands because you can then pay attention to so many aspects of your life that you need to be taken care of, whether it's your kids or your business. Or one thing about Priyanka is that she's constantly learning, and so am I. I'm constantly in in explorations and examinations of how I work or what I do, whatever I do. Habits are a really important part. I know I'm drifting a little over here, but you know, your habits are ingrained as a child by your parents. They tell you the best things that they know, right? But most of us are brought up in households where nobody talks about money, or money is a bad thing, or money is the only thing in life. And it's none of those things. It's a tool. And that's very hard for people to actually get. I think the habits in my household were very different from the habits in Priyanka's household. By the time Priyanka was 18, she had a habit of saving that gave her, I think it was 1 lakh from her pocket money, which is...
Yay! You brought my secret out, Praveer.
Yeah. So
I was waiting for that one to come.
right.
Can you repeat it nicely so everyone hears it nice and proper?
Okay.
Yeah, do that.
So the habits around money, for example, in Priyanka's household, they were different from mine. In my household, we had a different perception of money from different people. In her household, it's very clear, without money, you're not going to make headway. So savings was an important part of her growing up. And by the time she was 18, she had 1 lakh in her bank account. And I'm talking about when 1 lakh was probably today 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs. That's a lot of money.
Wow, Priyanka, too many secrets are coming out today.
There are many of them.
Yeah, a lot of things about me are coming out.
Yeah,
I
so
thought this was about women on wealth.
So
You know-
anybody has any other questions to ask Priyanka? Now's the time. Praveer is ready to answer everything.
Okay.
Thank you for that, Praveer. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on this. Priyanka, what about you? How do you think that, first, like, how do you think this is being financially literate? How is that going to help me in my relationship at home, apart from, of course, a point of communication, a basic understanding of my investments? But in a larger picture, in a bigger story, how does this help me?
So this is what my view is, okay? And my view is that all of us in our relationships have divided roles. You do this and I do this. It's not, it's like I manage the kids and the household, you bring in the money and manage the money. I mean, yeah, it worked up till some years ago when we women were not as educated, as aware, or we weren't earning money. It worked. And it worked beautifully at that time, but I'm not sure if it works in today's day and age, where all of us are so educated. I mean, every woman in Women on Wealth holds at least a master's degree, or she is a graduate for sure. So we all are educated women, and I don't know if divided roles really work for us anymore. I think now what the environment is calling for is shared roles, where we have a purpose of our marriage, where we have a vision for our marriage, and it's all about coming together as a couple and sharing roles, then dividing them, and you not knowing what's happening with me, and I not knowing what's happening with money. I think no more that kind of world exists where we keep ourselves away from certain things, aspects of our lives. I now
Right.
believe that it's all about sharing. Yeah, so this is what I feel, and I think that's where even Women on Wealth is coming from, bringing about this change in how we operate in our households, how we operate in our relationships. I
Priyanka,
think, yeah, go ahead, Apeksha.
in our family, how it works is my husband obviously earns. I'm a homemaker, but I take care. Take care of the investments. So, which category do you put that in divided or shared?
Yeah, so it is still divided in a way, right? You and I, or you and your husband have not created, say, a common goal, a vision for both of you, and you're both like sitting together and discussing where conversations can just flow. And it can be about money, it can be about businesses, it can be about anything in the world, children, and just talking, just listening to each other. Yeah, he might have handed over everything. Are we engaging him in, is my question. And the same way, if your husband is not including you, you don't engage yourself then in those conversations, and then there's a higher probability of you losing touch. Like I've seen so many of my women saying, especially the homemakers, saying, I don't feel that I'm up to date with everything. They say, I don't know if I know much. They're so educated and yet would feel that way. Why? Because they're not engaged, they're not involved as much in all these aspects. So if both in the relationship are engaged in these conversations, I think we can create magic, because we then play this game as a team than one person playing it alone, whether it's the man or the woman. And anyways, we are not a feminist organization. We are talking about men coming in. And I think Bindu wrote in the chat today, and Bindu, I really want to acknowledge you for that if there is one Praveer in every household, women will be different in that household. And I completely agree with that. Yeah. So we need one Praveer in every household. Absolutely. Yeah.
Praveer, what are your thoughts on that?
Are you ready to be replicated, duplicated everywhere?
Cloned.
I don't know if actually each person is such an individual when you look at them that I don't know that you can get. I'm not saying I'm particularly special. I'm just saying that everybody has their own way of expressing this. But just to go back to Apeksha's question, is she sharing? She was saying, am I sharing or is this divided or something like that? And I would say that if you have the same goals, it doesn't matter which part you're doing, whether you're working and he's managing or whether he's working and you're managing, as long as the goals are the same.
But where we are lacking is that I think when you end up dividing your roles, like you handle this and I handle this, somehow the goal gets vanished. People don't really have a goal. People are just doing what they're, you handle the investments and I'm handling this part, or you handle the work and I'm handling the kids. You just
I,
get so
I,
busy in your own role.
I could not agree with you more. The thing is, we end up doing, and doing can be very boring, and you lose sight of why you're doing this. You might have you might have started out in life saying, I want to flat in a building society or whatever it is. And what we have to do to get that is I need to go to a work to join a company which pays me X amount of money, and then in 10 years' time we'll be able to afford it. You can totally lose sight of why you started working 9 to 5 at the end of every day with a boss yelling at you, or people not listening to you, or stuff going wrong, and every day, 365 days, you forget totally why you're working.
Yeah.
So it's really important to keep your goals in existence. Put it in your bathroom mirror so that you can see every day why you are doing what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree. And I think when I did the Money Gym program in Women on Wealth, the first thing that we had to talk about was our vision and our goals.
Right.
And I'll be honest, I was blank. I mean, she wanted me to make a 2-year, 5-year, 10-year. I mean, मैं अगले हफ्ते का ही गोल बना लूं वही काफी है. In the future, I didn't even know the concept of a goal and how to work on it. But I'll share one thing. When I did my 3rd program with Women on Wealth, that's How to Talk Money with Your Husband, and there, Meera and Kushali, who facilitate this program, they asked us to make a vision. And I'm telling you, my way of thinking has changed after I made the vision, because I have never made a vision. So when I made a vision, and now every action of mine in my marriage is keeping that vision in mind. So the
Awesome.
concept of vision and goals is something that I have really started to follow after being a part of this community.
Awesome. That is just awesome, Jyoti. Just awesome. And yeah, it is hard to put together that vision. I mean, it's a muscle that we haven't really exercised. Most of the stuff when we're growing up is handed off to us. I think my mother told me that when you grow up, you will be in the Indian Administrative Service. And, I was horrified by that thought, so I just created my own vision. But that's a different thing. But then you have to have the muscle to actually say, this is what I want. This is what I'll be doing. This is what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And when you lose heart, look at the vision again and see if, you're creating your own future. You can change whatever you want to change in that vision board. You're not stuck with it like a hard and fast, not a religion.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
Literally authoring your own life, your timeline.
True.
Okay, so we come to our last question, and either one of you can go first. We want to know, what is the future vision of Women on Wealth?
Well, that's such an exciting question. I'm dying to find out. My way of developing things is by listening to people and what they want. Nobody actually told us that programs about money are what women want. What I listen to is the unspoken, unsaid things. When women would say, I don't have the money for this, but chalo dekhte hain, aage dekhte hain, aur kuch dekhte hain. I could hear the resignation there. You know what I mean? And I knew that is something that we need to develop, because you can't have people running around resigned and cynical about their lives and disappointed with their lives. It's no way to live. Yeah. So now I'm listening for what emerges, because we're in probably mankind's one of those crises where you literally have to rethink everything. It becomes clearer and clearer as we move through the corona crisis that not only is it going to affect our health, but every aspect of our life, including our economical life, the business of living is impacted. So I keep looking for signs that are emerging that, this could change this way, that could change this way, and our programs need to change accordingly, according to what happens out there. And that, it's exciting. It's also, it can be frightening and threatening and whatever else. But at the same time, if you're up to it, the challenge is there. I mean, so many businesses have to change. Maybe the audience can say what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also, I would just, as we are closing in and Priyanka is going to answer the last question, any questions anyone has regarding anything in your life, please ask now. This is Priyanka and Praveer who are ready to answer all the questions. So just go for it.
And while they're asking, Priyanka, why don't you tell us a little bit about the future vision of Women on Wealth?
Buddy, the future is that each one of you has to reach your goals.
First, you
Okay.
have to,
That's the future. Each one of you, the vision you set, you make sure that you reach there. And that's Women on Wealth success.
Well,
When Jyoti, Dabira, Apeksha, Madhu, Ridhima, everybody who has been chatting today, I'm taking all of your names. You all need to make sure that you win in your games. You all need to make sure you reach your goals because you're going to make Women on Wealth proud and you're going to say proudly, I am that woman on wealth. Okay? So the future is this. That's it. There is no other future.
well, I still have to fill the money gym form you sent in the morning.
it took
Go
me,
for
it
it.
took me,
Horror. I am hitting the horror. You have to feel what I feel sitting here.
and I have opened it 3 times and closed it because each time I'm answering, I feel like, okay, I'm falling deeper and deeper. So my to-do list is only longer and I hope to get it in the green very soon.
Yeah.
So
Got it. Got that. Okay, great. So do we have any questions coming from anybody in the audience? One thing for sure that you all need to share this video.
I have a question here
Okay.
from Saloni. She's asking, how did the Excel structures come into being? Which is a question even I had. So I'm very excited that she asked.
Yeah. And guys who are watching, you all need to know the Excel structure that they're talking about are in the Money Gym and the stocks program that we run. And they're asking how these structures have come about. Even the business program has it now. I think they've come.
And before Priyanka answers that, we just want to tell everyone that these structures have made our life very, very simple and we love them. Please carry on now.
Yeah, and they are like your personal finance blueprint, business building formula. Those are the kind of structures that we're talking about. There are a system that you can follow to reach your goals. And we believe in a systematic way of doing things. Like one of my mentors says that people fail, systems don't fail. So follow the systems. So that's what we are doing here in Women on Wealth. And how these systems came about, I think they came about with our own, my mentors and I think Praveer's mentors and Praveer himself, we built those structures by really following them ourselves. So if we are telling you to write your each rupee that came in and went out of your life, I've been doing that for the last 15 years. I have the record of each day, every month, where each penny of mine has gone. So we're leading here by example. How the system came about is with our own work. We've done them first, we've reached our goals, and we know that the system works. And that's how we tell you to work on the system, because we know that once you plug the entire system in your life, it's going to alter the way you operate and you're going to actually make all those dreams come true. So yeah, I think at least some idea you get on how those get built. And of course, the mentors came in and all of you came in, because I think the programs also evolved over time. The courses that we run today weren't the courses that we started leading in 2012. They evolved over time, and yeah, and then as we got more and more feedback from our community members, participants who took the programs, we kept tweaking them, and here we are today. Okay, so are
Okay.
there more questions for Praveen?
Yes, I have a few questions. I'm going to just quickly run through them. I know we've taken up a lot of time. So Sheetal is saying that one thing that you've forgotten to mention is that how both of you make our goals your goals and help us achieve them. So that's how you're defining the future. So she's acknowledging that. There's one question that has come from Madhumati, which is also one that I wanted to put out, that we have a lot of women with young girls, young children, boys and girls. What kind of advice would you give them? And how can we involve them to start early?
Praveen, take that on.
No, you come from a better background for that.
Look at it, Praveen will always stay in the back. What is that called? Backstage, right? Praveen, just jump in. You started pretty early. You started working much earlier than I started. Go ahead.
Yeah, but that was with my mom, so it was unpaid work.
I think that's one thing that Praveer has not mentioned, that he started at the age of 12, I think, was it?
Wow.
My mother had a magazine called Delhi Diary back in 1949, 50, something like that. By the time I was 12, that would be in 1962 or 63, I was helping out completely on practically every front, including, in those days you had, print magazine, and there were so many things to do. So I would help out on that. And I learned so much from her about what kind of attitude you need for a business, and what kind of, what work actually looks like. I mean, there were just two people in that company, and we were the best known magazine, even until 2008. My mom passed on in 1986, but that magazine lived on till then, handled by somebody else who bought the magazine. So it was a visionary piece of work from her. And I learned you've got to have something which people really do want. You don't just open up a chemist ka dukaan because, I mean, if you've got 20 chemist ka dukans like I have down the road, what is the need for another chemist ka dukaan? So, as far as teaching children, right from the very beginning in 2009, I said we need something for kids, for moms and kids. And it will take time to develop that. But because that is an extraordinarily difficult piece of work, because all parents have their own views on things like money, religion, what my child should do and should not do. It's negotiating that or maneuvering through that and presenting a picture is, I don't know, I'm not yet aware of how to take that on.
I think that's definitely a big point for the future planning, which we are going to take down now, because I'm seeing the number of people, Beena, Bindu, who've said that they are very keen for a young people course. I have a question. I'm just going to go over just to one other question from Lasya and one comment about from Ridhima, which is very important to put out. The question from Lasya is that do you plan to educate the uneducated?
Educate who?
The uneducated folks.
Yes, that's another area that I really want to get into. That's a huge area, and it's a huge, huge challenge.
Okay, and last one for you,
Sense
Praveer,
the
a special.
excitement.
Sorry, Apeksha, go ahead again.
I just said we could sense the excitement while answering that.
Yeah, and I'm very excited about this comment. So, and Praveer, this is a special mention for you. So I'm going to go ahead. Does Praveer do trainings for husbands? That ways we can have a part of him in each of our households. This is coming specially from Ridhima with a lot of emojis. So she truly is asking.
Oh dear. Interesting question. I don't know if I have that kind of capacity. I'd have to train up for that. Actually, you've got one of the best people in the community, Kushali, as well as Meera. They're just excellent on that. Doesn't take a man to actually teach another man.
Yes, Ridhima,
Okay.
you should contact Kushali and Meera for that. I can
I think,
vouch
yeah,
for it.
that's
Excellent.
the next one that we're going to get. So with that, we would just like to thank you and both of you for being so candid and so open and taking all our questions. And this has been very insightful, and I just want to say it's so, I can't use another word, but I'm just saying it's so inspiring for all of us who want to be financially independent, empowered, want to start up a business, want to have our kids start young. So you've answered all our questions here. So for me today, there have been three big takeaways. The first one is the concept of shared responsibility versus divided roles. It's completely hit home. And there was one time when Priyanka had asked the three of us these questions about how our roles are defined at home. And we answered them. And similar to what Apeksha said, we answered them. And very confidently, we told her that we have a great setup at home. And then she put some light on this of accountability, shared goals, shared vision, shared lives, and actually made us visualize our life if we were to see it in a shared environment. That after that moment, there was silence on our Zoom call, and we went back, and it took us 24 hours to connect back and actually, take this conversation forward. Because I think in those 24 hours, we were just evaluating every action of ours and in our household and how we can do things differently. We've all come here to be part of this community, and we have defined our goals, we've defined our vision. How do we achieve it is the big point. How do we show our near and dear ones the results we are getting? So this one point, I think we should all just let it sink in and think about it, because it is something of great, great importance. Second is, which I have given my own name to, is that I love how Priyanka has gone from so many businesses she started and she's reached here. And I know that she's part of so many other communities also, Lean In, and she's doing all of these things. So I think I would like to call it the feed the Kida in you syndrome. That when you've got something in your mind, you go ahead and do it. So what is our inner personality, and does it become different as we move along because of the different responsibilities that come our way? So I think it's important for us to ask, how important is it for us to keep that inner child alive, the excitement to keep starting something new, and not always look for monetary results that it will bring? Because if we keep, upskilling and keep the discipline, follow our structures, follow our system, money will come. We've seen it. We've got a live example in front of us. So I think this is one thing, that this is the feed the Kida inside you is a big one. And I'm going to keep honing it because there are three other courses I'm very interested to do. And finally, and most important takeaway for me is the one of relationships, the value and importance of them. we must have, all of us, we must have true relationships. We must value them. We must keep them uncomplicated. The more complicated relationship is, the value goes down. Keep them clean, keep them easy, keep them true to yourself, be it your partners, your spouse, your parents, your children, and but most importantly with ourselves first. Because if our visions, our vision, our goals have to be out there, clear in front of us, and we should be, focused without any inhibition with us. And not to mention, most importantly, our finances. We must understand them, we must develop them, and create a relationship with them. So I think for us today, these have been the big takeaways, and a lot more. And I hope it was as fruitful for you as it was for us. And with that, we close this amazing session. And we will be seeing you next time without any technical glitches, same time, same day, with another 2 amazing stories to keep us inspired and to keep us going. Once again, thank you, Praveer. Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you so
Davina,
much, you guys.
Apeksha.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Davina, Apeksha, Jyoti,
I want
and
to say
everybody
something.
else on the chat.
I just want to say something that, guys, if you liked what you saw today and you felt inspired, then do share this video with all your family and your friends so that we can inspire many other women. Because we might feel we don't need this, but when we share it with someone else does get inspired. Like we have a live
Absolutely.
example, Apeksha got inspired to do the stock investment program when I shared this in my timeline on Facebook. So do go ahead and share. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you soon.